Hello and welcome to this video blog where we will try to explain why Telangana Chief Minister Chandrasekhar Rao went ballistic not just on the BJP but also personally on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. What Chandrasekhar Rao did was to use a post-union press conference in which he was to react on the union budget to target the union budget and the BJP government, saying that they are in fact anti-SC, anti-ST, anti-poor and also anti-farmer, and he also targeted Prime Minister Modi. He in fact targeted the Gujarat model, saying that it is something that is upar sherwani andar pareshani, meaning to say that it is all style and no substance, and he said that social media was in fact being used to propagate lies, and that's how he said the BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to occupy the positions that they did. The second personal attack that he did on the Prime Minister was to talk about his dressing and what the Chief Minister called some kind of election dressing, saying that when there is an election in Bengal, the Prime Minister likes to grow a beard and look like Rabindranath Tagore. When it is Tamil Nadu, he will wear a lungi, he said, what is called a veshti. Then he said about Punjab, he would like to look like a Sardarji. Manipur, he will wear a Manipuri topi, and in Uttarakhand kind of a topi, and saying that all that is something that are gimmicks and that they do not serve any purpose of governance or administration. So why did KCR in fact target Prime Minister Modi personally? Three main reasons why. At a time when KCR himself likes to say that there is a lot of disillusionment with the so-called national parties, the Congress and the BJP, he believes that this is the time for other regional parties to be able to get a bigger role at the center in national politics as well. And KCR undeniably can have national ambitions, and targeting Narendra Modi is one short way of catching attention, and everyone sits up and takes notice when KCR talks about Narendra Modi. Second aspect is the language skills that KCR has. As opposed to several other leaders, say a Devagowda, a Chandrababu Naidu or an M.K. Stalin, K. Chandrasekhar Rao is very articulate in English and in Hindi as well, other than of course Telugu, and he knows that he can use that advantage because speaking in Hindi does give leaders more acceptability in the north as well, and he is able to communicate directly with the people. And Telangana Bidda P.V. Narasimha Rao, for instance, was a polyglot and was able to speak in multiple languages, and that is a big advantage, and that's one reason why we also saw the Chief Minister speak very extensively, in fact, in Hindi as well as in English, and making those points where he was criticizing the BJP, the centre and the Prime Minister. All those he made that criticism in Hindi as well. The third important reason is also domestic. When Chandrasekhar Rao advanced elections and had the state elections in 2018, even at that time his main opposition in the state was in fact the Congress. But slowly the Congress has weakened, and the BJP in many senses has gone on the aggressive and tried to occupy that opposition space. And the Prime Minister Modi's image as a national leader and the kind of popularity that he enjoys is something that KCR believes could become a threat to him in the future as well, and that's one reason why he needs to check the BJP and also Prime Minister Modi's own image on his domestic turf, and that's one reason why he is targeting Prime Minister Modi. Second, of course, he does not want to give the kind of a stature that the local BJP leaders may get if he starts talking about them, because they have been going ballistic and attacking him on social media as well, and that's one reason why he keeps talking about the social media being misused as a big villain in all this political game. The other thing about targeting the BJP itself came from the fact that the BJP state leaders had in fact started targeting KCR on the domestic turf, also on the issue of farmers. The excess grains that were produced, the food grain that was produced, the good production that Telangana had, all those food grains were not being bought by the state or by the centre, and they were targeting KCR, saying that he's asking them not to grow rice here when they were able to produce rice, and KCR was refusing to buy, was the propaganda. And KCR wanted to say that it is not I who is refusing to buy, but it is the centre. And it is in this context that in fact in November he had held that Mahadharna just before the farm laws in Delhi were taken back, and the Prime Minister in fact apologized to the farmers. Just a day before that, KCR had held a Mahadharna and said that he will become the political voice for farmers in Telangana, not just in Telangana but nationally as well. And excuse me, in this particular context, KCR has projected himself as that leader who can talk on behalf of farmers everywhere. He also wants to say that, before the 2019 elections, if he was not very successful in bringing together the non-BJP, non-Congress parties together, he wants to say that a similar effort now should be successful, because he is going to awaken the youth of the country. And he likes to give the example of the Telangana struggle, but several times the numbers were stacked against him and he was a marginal player, and people almost mocked the kind of struggles and protests that his party was holding, and said that ultimately I was able to get a Telangana, and similarly I will be able to bring what he calls a qualitative change in national politics. The other story that he wants to tell the country is Telangana's own story about the schemes that he has brought about, whether it is Raitu Bandhu, which is a direct farmer benefit scheme, investment support scheme, as well as Mission Bhagiratha, which gave taps to every home. All these are schemes that he says the central government has in fact copied in many senses, bringing in the Kisan Samman scheme as well as the Jal scheme of providing tap, and that his own schemes were much bigger and much better, and they are being now emulated by the center. And he also likes to say that with progressive policies and with also his welfare policies, Telangana has been able to attract investment. He likes to share those figures about Telangana doing well on the investment front, as well as on things like the Panchayat Raj, the accountability of the Panchayat Raj institutions, or in being ODF free on the Swachh Bharat list. All those he will project to say that what he was able to do as a success story in Telangana, he wants to say that he can replicate it for the country nationally. Of course, this has come on a day when we have three chief ministers, Mamata Banerjee, M.K. Stalin, as well as KCR, talking about all of them coming together to work together nationally. Of course, each of them politically a little different. Congress not an acceptable part of this group for KCR or for Mamata Banerjee, but M.K. Stalin, of course, in partnership with the Congress, and in his letter, in fact, he has written not just to the Congress but 37 other leaders, and talking about the social justice platform. So what they will try to do is to bring a common ground, talk about the common thread between all these three different parties, talking about the center-state relations, and also talking about what they say, the domination of the center, or the center in a sense behaving like a superpower vis-a-vis the states and not giving them their due or the respect. Of course, there is also personal hurt here. We do understand that when the chief minister and other ministers from his cabinet from Telangana had gone to meet central ministers, they were not given the audience that they expected, and that has also caused hurt. And that's one reason why KCR also likes to talk about the politics of hate and divisiveness, as he calls it, and projects that while he is also a Hindu supporting leader, or somebody who adheres with religious rituals, Hindu religious rituals, but that he is also friendly and equally encouraging of the other religions. That is something that he holds as a chip on his shoulder. So thank you so much for watching this video blog, and we will continue to update you on the other plans of Chief Minister, even as he has already told us that he will be visiting Maharashtra and meeting with Uddhav Thackeray. He's already met with several other leaders, M.K. Stalin, Pinarayi Vijayan, Tejasvi Yadav, and other leaders, and he has an equation with them, having been a central minister in earlier times, so an equation with leaders like Sharad Pawar and Mulayam Singh Yadav and other leaders with who he has had interactions in the past as well, and therefore he feels he is in a position to take on that national role, even as he insists that he is not in fact fighting to become Prime Minister. Thank you so much for watching.